There we go. Okay, thank you. All right, so it is just after 4:30, so we're going to call the meeting to order. First thing we like to do is make sure that we have live streaming active. Do we know if we're active live streaming? If I can, we'll go ahead and do roll call. If I can get somebody to just pull up YouTube or Facebook just to see if we have a live stream. So, okay, thank you. While we're getting that checked, we'll go ahead and do a roll call. We'll start down here with Stephen.
Steve Romanelli, member.
Rachel Yondel, vice chair.
David Benak, chair.
Tressa Greshak, member.
John Cruiser, member.
Thomas Dewhurst, member.
Dave Tabak, member.
All right, thank you, everybody. You have all gotten the agenda. I sent it out again today. Everybody already should have seen it, though, in the past from Justin. Can we get a motion to approve the agenda?
I will make that motion.
Seconded.
Okay, before we vote on it, I do want to just make a couple of additions. Where do we have it? So under unfinished business, I sent everybody out the single-use plastics purchasing recommendation. And then the other thing, new business, we have the recommendation on Asylum Lake area rezoning that Rachel had drafted. If people are, I think I sent it out around 2, maybe. Okay. If people are comfortable with those additions?
Sure. Yeah.
Discussion?
Sure.
We're just approving the agenda stuff. Yeah.
Okay, so then can we get a just a show of hands to approve the agenda as amended? Okay, thank you. And we have minutes that had gone out previously from Justin. Do we have any changes that people would like to make to the minutes that they have not submitted already? Okay, then a motion to approve.
I will motion to approve the minutes.
Support?
Support.
All in favor?
Aye.
Excellent, moving along. We will move to communications that we have received. To my knowledge, there was only the one about Asylum Lake.
Yes, I did respond to her, just updating her that I was drafting a letter, and she appreciated that.
Very good, thank you. Did anyone else get any communications about ECC business? No, all right. Then we are on to public comment, and just for people who are in the audience, we will do public comment now, and we will do it again at the end of the meeting. So if you want to hold your comment or you want to come back up, you can. And we have a phone line. That number is 1-888-382-9556. I'll give you that one more time. 1-888-382-9556. So if you want to call in, we'll take those calls as well. Let's start, though, with people in the audience. Is there anyone who would like to address the committee? Hey, it's the leaf guy. Go ahead.
Can I approach with a slide that I didn't get to Steve in time?
You may approach the bench.
You should probably introduce yourself more than the leaf guy, though, too.
Sure, thank you. My name's Chris Broadbent. I serve as the solid waste coordinator with the public services team. And Stephen had asked me to prepare some data for today. I was on the road and taking care of some recycling at one of the city offices. So I've prepared a few of the stats year to date. Certainly, you're just getting them now, so how could you possibly read them this quick? But we are in the midst of leaf season, that's correct, ongoing through December. In fact, the crews will be picking up leaves or plowing snow from now until March concludes. So we're committed to picking up all of the leaf material. We've already collected over 3,000 cubic yards of leaves to date. That includes the start of this month, as well as what we picked up in the spring from previous seasons. And I think we're trending in the right direction on a lot of these stats and statistics. Really pleased to see that we've already added 465 new recycle carts across the city this year, which is going to trend towards exceeding our 480 from last year. Those are requests that residents, households, single-family homes have made to subscribe to the recycle program. Our current contract runs through September 2027, and until that time, we're in a must request to access the cart process. So any household that does not have their cart yet needs to contact us via 311 or online at Report It or the Recycle Coach app to request the cart, and we'd be happy to get one delivered for them. I'm not sure that I have anything else to add unless there are questions, but happy to share this information, and apologies to Stephen for not getting it sooner, but just made it.
While people are thinking about questions, just a comment. Once again, the LEAF team is doing a fantastic job. Y'all were in front of my house yesterday. When you went by the first pass, I thought, oh no, they left all kinds of stuff everywhere, but that was just the first pass. People came through and got everything. Everybody's landscaping still looks great. Leaves are gone. Good job.
Yeah, thank you. I'll pass that on to the crews. Thanks.
On a personal note, my leaves got picked up, but they didn't come back and clean up the curbs. That was Monday, and Tuesday it rained, so I don't know if that interfered with them coming back to the West Douglas neighborhood or not. I'm just unclear on whether there's more to come on that.
Yeah, sounds like you stay in Zone B, which leaf pickup just started in that zone on Monday, so they're going to sweep the entire zone and continue working in that zone of the city for 2 weeks, I believe, through November 28th. Of course, we do break for Thanksgiving and the day after Thanksgiving, and then if there are snow events, that is going to take precedent. If I wasn't clear before, apologies, but the same people that pick up the leaves plow the snow, and that has a precedence to occur. The final step in the leaf pickup should be a street sweeper coming through to sweep the street, so it's possible something got caught up in that day that prevented that final step or coming back through, but the best thing that any residents can do to support the program if there are leaves accurately placed at the curb for pickup is to contact us to let us know if they're not picked up by the end of your service window. So for those who stay in service window A, the time is now through December 23rd to make those reports.
And I just wanted to reiterate, you said if people need to get in touch with you about leaves, about getting a new garbage bin or recycle bin, 311.
Contacting 311, yes, is going to be the best way to talk about the LEAF program and the recycle program. Trash, I believe, is a private subscription.
Hey, Chris, first of all, don't worry about it. Believe me, you work for a living, so this is and again, just extend the thanks to your entire team. I think you guys do a marvelous job, so.
Thank you. Thanks.
Anyone else have questions? Thanks, Chris.
Yeah.
I have one more comment. I'm just glad to see you're reporting the numbers for household hazardous waste because it's a super popular program. There's people that go there every month or more often because they just love it so much. But I'm glad to see that reported. Sometime after the end of this year on VITE household hazardous waste to give an end of the year report because they do a rocking job on things that are not reported here, like a whole bunch more electronics and then all the other hazardous materials that go through there. Thank you.
Yes, of course, and I should elaborate on the two different metrics you're looking at there. The users for hazardous waste are households from the city of Kalamazoo. They publish a quarterly newsletter about that, so that's the number of addresses that went to that site. That electronics number is actually at our quarterly events that we hold at Mayor's Riverfront Park. So we've had 4 events to date this year: January, April, July, and October. We had 551 vehicles come through our event in October and grew that from 371 in July. So more and more participants want to recycle these materials, and they have great value in the end markets and supply chain. So thank you. We also took our second trailer load of found hazardous materials from the barns over there yesterday. So as the very small quantity generator type business, we have to make an appointment for the city facilities to take that material. So we've begun continuing to do that.
All right, thank you, Chris.
No, thank you all for your time.
All right, we are still open for comments from the audience. People are here. Then, do we have anyone on the phone lines? Okay, so if you missed your opportunity, we will take comments from the public again at the end of the meeting. That takes us to our reports. Where are we for time? Okay, so let's go ahead and get started, go through these. Natural Features Protection Review Board. And I guess just for kind of organizing, we have the recommendation on Asylum Lake rezoning. So I would say Natural Features Protection Board, Asylum Lake, let's hold all of that discussion related to Asylum Lake for when we have the recommendation. So go ahead, Natural Features.
Okay, they had a meeting on the 23rd of September. They discussed 3050 Oakland Drive, which is in the Westwood neighborhood. It's an existing convenience gas station kind of across the street from Oakwood Plaza. And they want to do improvements to the storm drainage and existing fuel tanks and piping. They claim that the existing tanks have issues and the current storm drainage flows towards Woods Lake. They want to relocate storm to city storm system and replace tanks and piping with new. The NFP did approve that. I think it's a 7-Eleven or a Speedway, I think is what they're wanting to do there. And that was really the only thing on September 23rd. They also had a meeting on October 28th. And the NFP board did approve 2 projects. One, I believe we've discussed before, which was on 433 Reed Court. And that's a pretty big project. It's converting an existing brownfield and floodplain to have better stormwater control and wetlands restoration. It's going to connect to the KVRT and the Edison neighborhood. And they have an emphasis on water quality and ecology, and it was interesting that the city is also looking to transfer ownership of this land to the city. And their other project that they approved was on South Burdick, 3317, 3329 South Burdick. That property is owned by Stafford Smith. They want to build a cold storage building. The site has about 2.7 acres of woodland. They're basically proposing to remove about 10 trees, installing a retention basin for runoff, and re-landscape along South Burdick. And those were the 3 items that they approved in their meetings. And that's it.
Yeah, that Speedway, I think that's changes to the drainage there is a good idea.
Yes.
Yeah.
Very good.
Yeah, there's, well, any other comments or questions? All right, Rita is not with us today, so we're going to miss that. Let's go to Wildlife and Natural Resources, Tressa and David.
I don't have anything to report. Do you, David?
The only thing that even comes close is at the last Asylum Lake meeting, they've done an inventory, but I'll address that in a little bit. But as far as the wildlife goes, is they're doing an inventory of the trees and some of the other native grasses. It was noted about the browsing damage from the deer, but I'll briefly touch on that.
All right, any questions or comments? That takes us to Planning Commission, and same thing, Rachel, will keep the Asylum Lake zoning all together.
Yep, that is really the only report I had. So I will say that the Planning Commission did vote against the rezoning, but otherwise, that conversation will be later.
Okay, thank you. Questions? All right, then that takes us to Tree Committee. Thomas?
We did meet in October for about 9 minutes. We had a quorum, but our arborist wasn't there, so all the items were tabled till next month. I did send you an email this morning, or maybe it was this afternoon, just wanting you to be aware that MDMR published a Michigan Communities Tree Species Selection Guide. It's about a 50-page document. It's available as a PDF. If you're interested, I mean, for me, I'm really interested in it because it's a really well-done and well-researched document. And it's been a couple of years in the works, and it tells people in the urban community what type of species will do well in what type of environments. And it lists pretty much everything you could think of to plants and gives ratings for from 1 to 10. Some will do well. If it's a 1, it's not going to do well in most environments. If it's a 10, it's going to do really well. I'll be sharing that with the tree committee. They're probably already aware of that, but it will help inform many smaller communities that don't have the resources to have an arborist on what could be planted. That's all I've got.
Will you send that to the group as well?
I sent it to everybody.
Oh, I will recheck my emails.
Yeah, I missed it as well. Could you just send it again? I don't know, just to make sure.
So, yeah, I will. My question is, I just said, send this to everyone on the Environmental Concerns Committee. Send it, and if you didn't receive it, then where does it go?
Okay. Yeah, we'll have to check and see get to the bottom of that.
I sent it out at 12:07 p.m.
Okay.
So check your email. If you didn't get it, I'll send it again. Okay. I'll figure out. I'll keep trying till everyone has it.
Just one more thing for anybody who happens to be listening. What was the name of that, or where can people find it?
They can find it at the Michigan Department of Natural Resources website, and the name of the guide, it's a long one, Michigan Communities Tree Species Selection Guide.
Thank you. Anything else for Thomas?
I'd just note for Thomas that I did get the email with that attachment.
Okay.
You did?
Yeah, I'll have to double check. Maybe I missed it. Yep. Okay, that takes us to Asylum Lake. David?
Well, just like everybody else, mostly was around the car wash, but aside from that, they're continuing the restoration on the property at large, but they're focusing right now around the lake. They've got Paul McNellis, who's been doing some burns. They'll continue to do burns. They're doing tree plantings. They also have enlarged the survey of the species that are out there, both tree and grasses and flowers. And as I noted earlier, that the person that's doing the inventory has noted a severe decline in seedlings and saplings of the trees. A lot of the trees out there are undesirable, are eventually going to be removed anyway, but there's really no canopy that's going to naturally come up. It's going to have to be planted and then protected. Let's see, the other thing, and I'll just touch on this briefly because of the gas, or the car wash, the project that they've helped fund for stripping chloride out of the water, it's a big deal. It's going to take a long time, but there's a number of stages that they're following through on. But one of the concerns that was listed there by the engineering group and the chemist is that if that property is developed, there's going to be significantly more runoff, that the system really isn't right now equipped to handle. Can probably be tweaked the way I was understanding it, but that's a concern there. So, but other than that, it all basically was. Well, I shouldn't say all. They actually didn't address the actual zoning itself, other than I think 2 or 3 of the members had gone to the I think it was on the 6th, the city or the planning commission, and read off a letter that I had sent out, I think in response to Tom, actually. But so they were on the record as far as what their beliefs are. Aside from that, business as usual.
Questions or comments?
The only comment I want to say is that, maybe David touched on that, is that the management, the council did send a letter to the city commissioners and the planning commission and the new city manager in opposition of the potential rezoning.
Yeah, I did touch on that, but then they read that letter into the record as well.
Okay, thank you. Very good. That takes us down to Parks and Rec. John?
I didn't find anything on the October meeting. It says that they did, so I'm just going to reference the September 9th meeting. They said that 30 parks have been adopted, and there was a discussion on the ongoing issues with missing or incorrect contact information, particularly with planting rules, watering, access, and self-coordination. They did say that the new farmers market building is set to open. I think it's in 2 weeks. The Millen Park Stream Restoration Phase 2 is going out to bid. That work is to occur in December. They were soliciting bids for Verberg Park, and there was only one bid, which was higher than the budget, so they're working on design modifications, and they are also actively looking for a new board member. And that's all.
Very good. All right. Any questions or comments? Okay, then Kalamazoo River Watershed Council, that is me. I went to their monthly meeting, was also their annual meeting. Encourage people to follow what they're doing. The annual meeting was mostly devoted to discussing the work they've done to try to get youth and underserved communities on the river and comfortable canoeing, kayaking, and it was just a really wonderful event with lots of engagement and representation that we don't normally see at a lot of our environmental gatherings. So it was a very good sign. Questions or comments?
When is their next meeting? Do you know right offhand?
I will tell you when I have a moment here. It's on my calendar, probably.
All right, great, thanks.
So then the next odor task force, we had not met. Then that takes us to waste working group. Stephen.
And Chris was kind enough to actually talk most about it, but as far as I know, there was no meeting in October, or I'm sorry, November. But maybe you can talk to this, Chris. I was just curious about the next cycle project and what the status of it was. Because I think there was some kind of presentation or something that was slated for October.
Of course, yeah, I'd be happy to speak about that. So the city formed a collaboration between the sustainability planner and myself and some other team members and our leaders and supervisors to come up with an idea to pitch in the near future to the full city commission and this group about a recycled drop-off center, so moving our quarterly, semi-annual events into a daily drop-off location. And we successfully completed that pitch program, which was in Lansing on the 22nd of October, and all of the participating pitches were awarded a $5,000 harvest grant. So we're in the midst of discussing accepting that grant and pursuing the process to appropriately accept that funding. There is new funding opportunities coming up through Eagle in the very near future. They're opening up their recycling infrastructure grant program. The deadline is January 28th, I believe, to complete those. So we'll be discussing that. At this point, it seems like our plan is continuing to build, and we're excited about the potential to make that pitch to the audiences.
I don't have any questions. I really appreciate all the work you and Justin and your whole team have been doing on this. I think it's a great project.
Thank you. Yeah, actually today I was up in Allendale for another next cycle partnership meeting where we heard about various end markets, Cascade Engineering, Howarth Furniture, Padnos, and Goodwill were presenting about some of the work they do with the end market of the recycled material. It's great to know that there are companies in Michigan who are purchasing recycled content and remanufacturing that as part of their supply chain, or looking to eliminate things like PFAS and less sustainable packaging from their shipping and processes or their products altogether. Some great examples that were presented also include the American Mosaics Company in Spring Lake, taking otherwise not reusable glass that they buy on the recycle market and turning it into mosaic tiles for bathrooms and pools. So, I'm always fascinated to learn about the end markets, what our business is taking these recycled materials and turning them into. I think that's a key part to the story about why recycling works in our community.
I would agree. No questions on my part.
Anybody else? Thank you.
Thank you.
That takes us to native species and urban landscape. That's Rachel.
Yep, I have a few updates for that. Justin set up a meeting in October with a few people from the community to talk about their, it's kind of more of an introductory meeting, and people talking about their, goals with native plants in the community. So we met with Destiny, who was the My Healthy Climate Corps intern for last year, and she just gave an update on what the program she was doing last year, invasive species polls, one October 11th at Woods Lake. We met October 7th, so this is a little past date now. That was the last invasive poll of the season. They worked with Oakland and Winchell neighborhoods in conjunction with WMU to redesign Glen Park North, and they started what they were calling bio blitzes at Jones Park, and they're hoping to continue those into next year, all just pulling invasive species and maintaining those areas, and also trying to educate the community on the harms of those plants. Destiny did finish up with My Healthy Climate Corps for the year, and it doesn't look like the city got another intern for next year. We also, Gail Walters was in attendance, who we know from being on the ECC. She was representing the Urban Bird Treaty, and she is hoping to submit that document later this year. Her desire is to promote native plants, which support the insects and in turn the birds. And she wants to see invasives removed without the use of pesticide and herbicide. Bella Belez from the Rivershed Council was in attendance, and she was mostly talking about native plants as filtration systems for the waterways and also erosion control. Justin did give some updates on the Mayor Riverfront Park cleanup. They were clearing invasives, but it has not yet been planted with natives. And Buzz in the Zoo was successful in replacing No Mow May, and continuing to figure out how to encourage people to leave their leaves without creating issues for drains, since they break down and are good for the soil. I think he mentioned that there was a WMU student conducting a study on soil health in native plant gardens. So I'm not sure if that's still going on, but if anyone has a native plant garden, feel free to reach out to us or Justin and we can get that contact information. He's also working on sustainable pest management plan for the city. Reed Park, they're pulling chocolate vine, which is a particularly nasty invasive. And then they're working on an iNaturalist, the app, a group called Invasive Species Monitoring in Kalamazoo, where you can look up what other people are pulling in the area and also share your own photos. It helps you identify invasives or native plants, and then they can use that information for grants as well. So that is a good app to write down.
Could you give us the name of that app again?
iNaturalist, lowercase I, capital N. And then we just talked about some of the goals for 2026. Justin wants to come up with an approved planting list, an integrative pest management strategy, targeted mailing for education on invasive species, grants for native species, continuing with the rain barrel sales and storm drain painting, and then specifically they want to work at Blanche Hull Park to kind of revamp that space, and then organize a volunteer program for maintenance at the parks where they're doing the invasive pulls. So I don't know for sure if we'll meet again this year. I think things kind of die down for winter, but I think we're going to try and keep this little working group going next year.
Any questions? Before we go to sustainable update, David, you asked about the next Watershed Council meeting. It's not on their calendar, but they tend to meet the third Monday of every month.
Thank you.
Do we have a sustainability update?
Justin didn't leave me with any updates that weren't already covered. Thank you, Chris, for giving updates on materials management. I will add that next month, though, for December, Justin will be giving an IK 2035 presentation for all of you and give you an update on where the city is in that process. So look forward to that.
Very good. All right, that takes us to our unfinished business, new business. There are the two recommendations, and there's also, when we get to new business, I'm going to discuss officer positions for the next year, because they will roll over when we get there. So, unfinished business. The only thing that I believe we've discussed but haven't moved on one way or the other is the recommendation to the city to create a regulation to essentially deter the purchase of single-use plastics or things that are packaged in single-use plastics. Do we have anyone who would like to discuss that?
Sure. Well, so I think you said you sent out something. I didn't see it in my email.
Okay, so I'd sent it out again today about 2. We'd also had it on the agenda a couple months back. In brief, I can read it. It's only about 2 or 3 sentences here. The ECC recommends that the Kalamazoo City Commission create and implement a policy that requires all city purchases to be shipped in packaging that is free of single-use plastic, and that the purchased products do not contain single-use plastics. Exceptions will be made when no feasible qualifying alternative is available, In such instances, the purchase authorization will include an explicit statement that no qualifying alternative products are available.
What thoughts did everybody else have?
Just a question, is this in absence of a current purchasing department policy on single-use packaging? Is there anything in place already?
There's not anything in place already. One of the things, so there's a couple, just to give you a couple of things I'm thinking about with this. One is legislative prohibitions against regulations against single-use plastics. But I suspect that this is a clever loophole because this is about purchasing. It's not about, and it doesn't actually ban anything. And that's why I think it is practical, because it does have a pretty open exception policy. There just needs to be a statement that there was an effort made to find something that didn't have single-use plastic packaging and that nothing was available.
My only concern is how absurdly difficult it is to ensure that something is not packaged unsustainably. I think, having a policy to opt for, compostable dishware or single-use cups and plates, and maybe even a policy about if the city is shipping something out to someone, that has to be sustainably packaged, I think is probably more practical on a day-to-day basis. Just because, I've purchased plenty of things where I was like, well, the packaging isn't sustainable, but the long-term sustainability of the product is. Like, it winds up being a weird trade-off to me. Does that?
I personally would support a policy, even if it is going to be difficult, nigh on to impossible. It's a good statement, and it's driving the public attention to that as a major problem. So if there's not, I'm kind of surprised there's nothing in place already on that, a statement or something. But I'd totally support anything that moves that down the road.
I think I would be most comfortable if they were separated a little bit. Like if there was this is really just talking about packaging coming into the building, but because of what it said, single-use packaging without single-use stuff inside, right? Am I reading that right?
It would be no single-use packaging, no single-use plastics in the packaging or in the product.
Yeah, so I think I would separate out the product and the packaging, because I think the product is a much easier thing to achieve. So it would be like don't buy single-use forks, for example, and then slightly more forgiving language for the packaging component.
I understand where you're coming from, but I think that's an unnecessary and added cumbersome layer to add in there, because this is kind of what David was hitting at. It's really just an awareness-raising measure, because all it's going to require the whoever is purchasing something in the city to do is look in a second or third catalog to make sure that there's not something else, and I use the language feasible, so they can stretch that in whichever way they want. What I'm looking for here is just to force them to think about it, and then they're going to make a statement when they purchase something. There will be it'll become part of the purchasing authorization template.
Yeah,
that they looked.
But I think practically what winds up happening is it becomes a box that they just check. Like there's once you have a source and you go with that source, like let's say you have a contract with my job, we have a contract with UniFirst, right? You have that contract, so you are limited to what they can offer you. And if you happen to know that what they can offer you, you know, maybe the sustainable option is just so much more expensive or something, that word feasible becomes, well, then I'll just check the box and not really pay that much attention to it. And I think that's why I think separating them out is a little bit more useful, because if you say, again, like, don't buy single-use plastic forks or cups or straws or plastic bags or bubble wrap, right? That's something where now you have to hunt to find an alternative. And then when it comes to the actual packaging that you get in the mail, I mean, ultimately, you just don't have that much control over it. I want to say you do, but you have to make like 10 phone calls. It's one of the bigger burdens in sustainability.
So there's no enforcement other than the potential public accountability. And so the public accountability is you can check that box and ignore it all you want, but then some community group FOIAs the records and sees that you didn't do due diligence. Right. That's all we're looking here is due diligence. We're not asking for 10 phone calls.
Well, but what do you consider to be due diligence? And to my mind, this is, because like remember, my specialty is in behavior, right? Sustainable behavior. And in my experience, when you are dealing with something like this, it's really important to set up the people or the organization or whatever the entity is for success. You don't want to give somebody a goal that is outright unachievable. And again, from personal experience, the number of times I have purchased something that is a sustainable item in theory, but comes packaged in a non-sustainable way, but you don't know that until it gets to the door.
What would convince a company selling a product to package it without using single-use plastics?
That's a really good question.
What would convince them is if all the really big ticket purchasers start asking for it.
Sure, I think that's true. I'm not saying you get rid of it entirely. I'm just saying I don't think they should be put in the same paragraph with the same language. I think one's more of a do this or like must do, and the other one is a try to do. It can be a, you know, stronger language to try to do.
A must do is not going to be accepted for anything.
Sure.
So we put them both in the we would like you to do category.
Sure. But why would I do a you'd like me to do if I could just not do that?
Because
you want me to do it.
That's where I said the only accountability is that there will be an explicit statement that no qualifying alternative products are available.
Yeah, but they're going to but this is the thing, is like, I don't think they're going to think it through. They're going to make a piece of paper that says there were no alternatives available with a checkbox. And that would be part of their like pile of documents that they fill out for something. And they won't really read it. They'll just say, nope, it was not available, and move on.
Would you rather they didn't try?
But I'm saying I don't think that they will. Not the way that it's phrased. I want them to try. I'm not against the idea of this. I just think it has to be structured in a way that is actually going to be achievable and meaningful. Otherwise, it's just more paperwork, more administrative work that nobody really wants to do, and just creates resentment.
I actually, I hear what your concerns are, but I got to tell you, I actually see it very differently.
Okay.
And I see it simply from the respect, you're right, it is about changing human behavior.
Right.
Which any of us, when we first approach something or we've been doing it for a while, we want to do it the quickest way, the simplest way, and we don't always give it forethought about, oh, what are the potential impacts? The way I read this, some people are going to ignore it, that's life. But I think if it hits a minority of people, an individual, and they start thinking twice doing this, then I think that's the start of the stair-stepping. It's not forcing anybody, and there's no penalty on other people, but it does presume that there will be a conversation by the person's manager and their managers. Again, delivered in a way that's saying, look, we're not going to be penalizing you, it's not going to show up on your performance, but this is what we want to encourage you to do. What questions do you have? What support do you need from me as your leadership? That's how I look at this. It's starting to set the stage. And the other example I would give, and this is not the leaf collection, but I know enough now to know that if you're a homeowner, you're not supposed to be blowing your leaves into the street. I can't tell you the number of times that when I bike, I'm coming up Winchell and they're blocking the bike lanes. So I think it takes time for people to really get adjusted and to think about what they're doing. That's why I'm actually in support of this.
Another point of view here. I'm in general support of the idea, but having worked for the county of Kalamazoo for 30 years, what I would suggest is we need to talk to the purchasing department to find out what they're doing now.
Yeah.
Why presume that they're not doing anything, even though it's not a written policy? Why don't we just invite somebody to say, we're interested in sustainable purchasing. We'd like to eliminate as much plastic as feasible and eliminate single use. What's your report card right now, and what could we do to make it better? That way we have a conversation that, oh, we found out they're already doing anything, and I have no idea that.
I like where you're heading with that.
Maybe Chris and Justin know a lot more about it, and then we come back and put together something based on what we've learned, and then we go forward. If we throw this stone and it makes a little splash, but then it doesn't go anywhere, then maybe we need to do a little more homework.
I mean,
Thank you.
Yeah, I think that is a much stronger strategy, because this is very, even though there are no repercussions, this is very, top down, this is very, we dictate you need to do this. It doesn't take into account what's already happening. It doesn't take into account any restrictions that they might have to work with. And that doesn't mean that they can't do it. It just means that if you're going to build a policy around doing something, you have to understand the best way to make it work. And you can't do that if you're just going to say, this is what you should do now. You've got to have a better understanding of what's happening. And we don't know. There could be, as someone who works a lot right now with government funding, there could be some very specific restrictions that conflict, and it's important to know what those conflicts are going in.
I was just going to say that I do agree with the approach that Thomas was taking, but Chris, you kind of look like you were on the edge of your seat. I didn't know if you had something to add to that.
Please.
Certainly, yeah. I'll say this as a resident of the city of Kalamazoo.
Sure.
I totally understand the goal, and I think that is achievable in our lifetime. It may be worth considering, do we need to think about the end life of these products first? So they're coming into our system, into our facilities, into our processes.
Right.
How are we handling those materials when we're done with them? A lot of what I'm thinking of is water bottles, water bottle cases. Just for example, providing hydration for the crews that are, out doing the leaf pickup from the bike lanes, which is where it should not be. And thinking about maybe a good other thing to consider, or an additional starting place on this is, if we're acquiring these goods, we're taking the responsibility to manage them appropriately and make sure that our people are getting them into the recycle stream or compost stream, or if appropriate, the hazardous waste or landfill stream, depending on what those are. So that would just be my thought is, yes, achievable, I think. Certainly weird that our legislators have said, no, you can't make your own legislation on plastics bag material, but in the last 2.5 years, I've learned so much myself about the recyclability of plastics, including things like EPS foam that we collect by the trailer full, that I would have thought 3 years ago was a product I didn't want in my life, and now it's become something that I surround myself with, and by giant bags. Plastic bags and film can go back to the retailers, and maybe there's a way we can provide some system to make sure that any of those types of materials that are single use, we're having an appropriate responsible stream for. And I agree, we should be shifting towards compostable materials in the food service cases for us. A big piece of that, though, is having the right infrastructure in place to accommodate for that, which is relatively new in some of our communities and in that way. So thinking through all of those pieces, I understand the goal, and think it's definitely worthy of pitching and talking about and trying to get people on board with. To my knowledge, the previous purchasing discussions about recycled materials date back to the 1990s in documented instances. So I think there's something to be said about addressing that at the purchasing point, and also maybe thinking about that end phase of the product. How can we make sure that our staff members feel their choice is the appropriate behavior that lines up with the system, and they're encouraged to do that with those materials. But that's at the end of life, which is like suddenly become my what I deal with in that phase. So, think about it from that standpoint. It's not to say yes or no on that front, but I would just say maybe recycling this material and making sure we have an outlet for that and the appropriate system in place to make that work could also be a part of that, or a consideration to kind of get to. So
I'm intrigued by the idea of an end-of-life plan, or sort of a life cycle plan, maybe in pairing with, if preference for items that come in sustainable packaging without single-use plastics. If single-use plastics are present, here's the procedure for the city for disposing of those items properly. I think in part because you've done such a good job building up our programs, I think we probably have a monochrome of capacity to start putting those procedures in place if they're not already there. Maybe that's a more achievable goal, or better strategy for working with the city on this long term.
I like the idea that you were coming up with, and I think so. I think we could be talking about this for another hour, and I think we do want to move on. I think we need to get a little more information about what is currently there, and I like that whole life cycle approach as we're thinking about it. So that would be my proposal, is rather than make a decision on this today, I think we need to do a little more due diligence and really find out what is going on, because I don't know. And it'd be good to know.
One data point that I have not provided but could provide in the future is from our facilities on property waste and recycling dumpster service. So we have access to data from WM, which is our current provider, for how much material from our facilities is being recycled, and think about maybe we're exploring into that data set as something that can support this conversation. But I do think it is definitely worthy to cut down on the amount of single-use plastics if possible, and, I have a lot of respect for this idea as well. So thank you for even entertaining my thoughts on that. And I should say, there's a typo on my page I gave out. December 27th is the final event for the year, so apologies.
Thank you. Okay, on this, the goal is to basically put Chris out of the job. Yeah, if we can end that kind of waste stream. Yeah, I don't think he would mind if he was out of a job because we didn't have any garbage. Yeah. So, but the other thing I think is thinking about what the ECC does in the structure of the city government. We have absolutely no authority. We have, right, we only have the ability to send our thoughts, our suggestions to the city commission as they pertain to environmental issues. Everything else is somebody else's concern. Our concern is the environment. Our concern isn't these other issues. So my thought is, as one of the things that Chris said there again, we have to change the culture, and we can't change the culture until we start conversations, and the conversations aren't going to start until we force them to be had. So my goal is to force a conversation where the city, really comes to grips with what is the role of single-use plastics in the way that our government operates. It does seem like we have a split, and we may not be ready to deal with this today. We have options. We can either have a motion to take a vote on it, or we can take a motion to table it, or we can continue discussion. As far as I see it, those are our three options. I'll take a motion in any way.
I would like to move to table this discussion either to December or January and move on so that we can talk about Asylum Lake and the property on Stadium Drive.
Can I make one more comment before we completely move on, just so that it's on the record? I think it could be nice to make a recommendation alongside of whatever is proposed to work with some of our surrounding similarly sized municipalities to create resources on basically like our own version of a purchasing catalog of things, so everyone's not duplicating efforts. I feel like Ann Arbor would probably be interested in that. They may have something already. Certain folks in Detroit would probably be interested in that. So that would be my recommendation, is cooperative resourcing of
Before we can move on the recommendation, we have a motion on the floor to table until December. Does that motion have support?
I second that motion.
Okay, so discussion on that motion. Then vote on that motion. All in favor? Aye?
Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay, so we will hold that until December. That takes us to the new business. And just before we get into that, because I don't want to forget, and this is probably going to take up the rest of our time, the officer term for the ECC changes, or is the calendar year. So we will need new officers in January, and that will also be when we'll be, all terms will count beginning in January. So anyone who's interested in being chair or vice chair or treasurer, which we do not currently have, please keep that in mind. You can let me know, or you can let the committee know, but we'll be making that decision in January. The new bylaws from Justin's email sounds that those have not gone through yet, because in the new bylaws, it requires a nominating committee. So we're not required to have a nominating committee. If people would like to have one, you can suggest that and we can put one together. Otherwise, think about officer positions and we'll be dealing with that in January. Okay.
Okay, so at the Planning Commission meeting this month, I am blanking on the gentleman's name, but it is not the same gentleman who has previously tried to put Drive and Shine on that property. It is someone who's trying to purchase it from him, in my understanding. And so he does not currently have a plan or use for that property, but a condition of his purchase is that it would be rezoned to commercial. So that is what was put forth. I guess long story short, there was a lot of community opposition to that, and the Planning Commission did ultimately vote against the rezoning, but it still goes before the city commissioners on December 15th, I believe. Yes. So I briefly drafted a letter that we could send on if we so choose, just with our recommendation against that rezoning. I know we've talked multiple times about Asylum Lake and how that would be a detriment to the environment there. So I don't know how much of that we want to discuss right now.
So I would say, let's just start with discussion of the issue, and then we'll pick up into this after a few minutes.
To add to what was just said, the new owner was pretty doggone vague as to what, except for it would be developed, I think the language was consistent with the Casco, the kitty corner to it, the Casco, the hyper-developed corner. So basically anything is the way that I took that.
He was very vague. He was directly asked in the Planning Commission, and his response didn't indicate anything, really.
So the concern remains the same. It may be a little bit different business that goes in there, but the concern is the exact same thing.
I was just mentioning that because in the draft of the letter, I didn't specifically mention the car wash. I just said that we do not currently know what it would be used for.
Yeah, I think that's my biggest concern, is that he wants to rezone it, but he doesn't have a plan for after it's rezoned.
It's kind of sounded like it could potentially be like portioned off afterwards and have either have people renting or other buyers from him. So it was just very, very vague.
See, but that's why I'm concerned, because it's, if he came forward and was like, here's my plan to make because what he says that he wants to maintain a level of natural something, but that could mean anything. That could be, I planted some trees in the giant parking lot. Like, that's not very meaningful. I would be more comfortable, I guess, not opposing his efforts so heartily if there was actually a plan that was being demonstrated. I think it's unwise to approve a rezoning without any indication of what it could be, especially for a spot that is so integral to a preserve.
Well, I'd like to add a little bit to that. I've got a lot of experience on this, and I know that the purchaser of the property, the sale that he wants, the sale was contingent upon that piece of property being rezoned. Right. And he wants to keep the NFP overlay on the piece of property. And one of the things that I think, there's so many issues with that. Within the city's presentation, I think the CPED, which is the Community Planning Economic Development, they mentioned that the NFP supports development. It does not. They tried to put that language in a couple of years ago, and through public outcry, that was removed. And if you look at, I think it's section 50A,
You have it?
I do, actually.
It's like, you're combing through something that looks tasty. Said you're combing through something that looks interesting, really.
The NFP states clearly that it is to guide site development, and if you refer to 50-6.2A, the word support is not in there. They tried to do this before. And another thing that was real interesting with this, when the city was presenting their case of rezoning it, they were only showing visual representation looking south and looking east and to the west. Now, I don't know how many people here have been at Asylum Lake, but if you look to the north from Asylum Lake, on the impact that that would have on truly the city's largest green space. Now, we're here talking about single-use plastics and changing people's perspectives. It's really, what kind of value is the city and the community placing on nature versus economics? And it's going to be a huge impact no matter what is developed there. I mean, this is why this is the third time that this has gone in front of the Planning Commission. And I don't see how there's any feasible way. I've been in the development landscaping field for 49 years, and it would be practically impossible. And I know one of the things that the council we're going to try to push forward, Asylum Lake Council, is to try to help mitigate any type of potential. And not to mention, David mentioned the potential impact on the remediation project through chloride salt, which was funded by the state and the council to the tune of almost, well, a little over $750,000. I strongly oppose rezoning to that.
I'm just curious here, because I'm wondering if we're in a violent agreement. So is anybody in favor of not communicating the fact that the ECC is recommending to the city, do not rezone this? Does anybody want that on this group?
Wait, so you're saying, like, do any of us, are we all opposed to the rezoning? Is that basic?
Right. I'm just curious.
I'm opposed.
Yeah, I think.
I'm opposed to it, and I think I'm just going to get on my soapbox for a minute. I know that Asylum Lake Preservation Association has issued a letter. I know that Oakland Drive Winchell Neighborhood Association has provided a letter of opposition. I know that the Management Council has. I know that there's dozens of other organizations that have, and not to mention there's a petition that's been circling that has 14,000 signatures on it, and if anybody was at the Planning Commission meeting, you know, that thing went on till almost midnight. And again, this is the third time that they're trying to do this.
I agree, and I think that's legally they are allowed to do that. That's part of their right. I don't have an issue with them making the appeal. I'm just curious, first of all, I'm not in favor of rezoning it, period, end of story. So I'm more concerned about what we as an ECC can do. And I like this idea of making a recommendation from us since we represent the community, that we do that.
This is a weird question. I don't know if it's outside of our purview, but would it be possible to recommend a rezoning to it becoming an extension of the preserve? I mean, maybe that's like a two-parter, like this is denied, and then if the deal falls through, like we recommend the second thing. But I just don't see any development that wouldn't be detrimental.
I mean, I think the issue with that is ownership.
Yeah,
On zoning,
I acknowledge this. That's why I'm like, it's probably way far out there.
on zoning, it's currently zoned as residential. The city has no zoning code that would offer more green space protection than that.
We're working on that.
Right. So I think the issue isn't what the use is. I think the issue, what I would like to see us say, is any rezoning from residential to anything we oppose. It does not matter what the proposed purpose is. It should stay residential or something that offers more green space protections than that, and that currently does not exist.
That, I was going to suggest an addendum to that, that not exactly going so far as to suggest some kind of rezoning, but to rather to promote some sort of effort to purchase and take this chunk of property off of the market. Just, and again, it's totally pie in the sky, there's no weight to it, but just to make a statement to get the conversation going in that direction. Because I'm sure a lot of people say, well, why doesn't somebody just come up with, like the Stewarts of Kleinstuck, they bought an additional 12 acres next to Kleinstuck to keep it from being developed.
I was just going to jump in here quickly and make a comment that probably staying on the track of weighing in on rezoning when the city is being tasked with the question of rezoning may be really prudent, and that getting too far out of the question of rezoning may start bringing up a conflict of interest for the city. Hey, do you want to rezone, and then do you have a potential interest in owning property? May just be a conflict of interest. So, but I like that idea. You may want to weigh in somehow on another, I think it's all fair, I guess, to talk about any zone district or any, other zone districts that may be out there, or a zoning district that doesn't exist. I think anything in the realm of zone would be a really fair statement to make within this, keeping it all within one topic that is at currently something that the city commission is weighing in on.
That's a useful point, because I do agree with David. I think the ultimate, what has to happen to protect the site is that the city or some not-for-profit environmental organization has to take ownership of it. But I hadn't thought of that. There is a legal conflict of interest if they are rezoning it and trying to purchase it at the same time, because that changes the property values.
Yeah. I mean, I would say that we should ultimately recommend that there's no rezoning unless that rezoning is it creates additional protections for the environment, or is stricter. And I know we don't have a zone for this right now, but I would say, don't change the zoning unless in the future that option becomes available to basically turn it into preserved land. I don't have the best way to phrase that as I'm saying it out loud, but I just don't really see an alternative to doing that in the long run for that property.
In the interest of time, it sounds like we're all in general agreement that we are opposed to rezoning. We have two versions of a recommendation. We have the version that Rachel drafted, and then we have a version with some markup by Stephen. Does anyone want to discuss? Well, let's start with Rachel, because you made the original recommendation. Have you reviewed the edits that Stephen have made, and do you consider those to be what we'd call a friendly amendment, something that you just accept?
Yes.
Okay, so then we can just move straight to the version with Stephen's edits. Rachel, would you like to give any intro to what you've written, or should we just go to discussion? It's up to you.
I don't, if everyone's read it, I don't think I really have any additional comment.
So then let's take, Well, I guess to do by Robert's rules, we have a item in front of us. Do we have a discussion of this item?
The only thing I have to discuss is I think it's a good document. I would only make one change, and that would be on the second paragraph. Remove the word "as." It will read, "It is also," as it's written, "it is also as a place for community." I think it should be, "It is also a place for community members."
If we use Stephen's edits,
That was his edits.
oh, he's deleted cherished. Okay, is also a, yep, we'll also delete the word as.
As in front of A.
Okay.
Mine says cherished.
Yeah,
Mine too.
It's not deleted.
In my version, what Stephen's marks are in red and underlined.
Oh,
You might need to, you might need to change your document to show markup.
Mine shows
You're right,
things
you're
that
right, it is. It is.
line through the middle of
Right.
the letters as stricken, but underline means added to
Okay.
the text.
I have that document that you sent up, but for whatever reason, it's not showing it correctly. I just have all black letters, no underlines.
Yeah, mine's
Okay.
at home, it had everything,
Yeah.
but here
Yep.
I think the difference is if you have Word as your native
Oh, okay. Yeah, I don't have Word on this.
laptop or
Yeah.
iPad, it will show the edits. If you don't, then it's a little jumbled.
So what I would suggest here, let's not look at copy editing. We will discuss the larger yes or no, and then we will get Stephen to send us his copy. Right. And we can all proofread it. And then after he does that, I will do a final proofread, and I will, if we decide to submit it, then at that point, then I'll submit it as a recommendation. Sound good?
It does sound good, but I think that time might be of the essence because it was January or December 1st that the city commission is going to make a decision. More public comment.
My commit will be to get this to you by tomorrow. It won't take me that long.
Yeah, because Dave is right, there is a timeline. I think December 1st was the first reading of the rezoning, and December 15th was going to be the actual vote.
So if Stephen gets this to everyone tomorrow, can we make a commitment to all having read it and sent any edits to me by the 23rd, which is Sunday?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes, the only question I have is, how can we approve it today so that we don't have to come back in December to, as
We
whole
can ap-
business?
We can approve with reserving editorial corrections.
Okay.
That's okay within Robert's rules, as long as there's nothing substantive change, just striking an as, that kind of thing. That's copy editing.
Okay.
So Steve will get it to us by tomorrow. We'll all turn it around, getting it to me by Sunday. Then I will get everybody's content collated, and I will get it to the city by Tuesday afternoon.
Okay.
Great.
I would like to make a motion that we accept the Steve's version of the letter as edited, and that it will, with the other parts that you said, David, which is that it'll get to everybody tomorrow, and then everyone will get back to you to finish the collation.
I just want to make clear that the changes anyone makes after we approve it can only be copy editing type changes.
Agreed, and as
Okay.
part of my motion.
Okay, just wanted to make sure we're all clear on it.
I second the motion to approve Steve's version. I have read it. It looks quite good.
All right, so we have a motion that has support. The next step by Robert's rules would be to discuss the motion. So if we want to discuss anything within the document beyond simple copy editing, now is the time to do that. That leaves us to take a vote, and the vote would be yes is in favor of us sending this to the City Commission as a recommendation from the ECC. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
All right, any opposed? Motion carries. Very good. Nicely done. All right, that takes us to final thoughts from members, and after we do that, we will, now I'm going to switch 9 and 10. Let's check phone lines first, and then we'll do final thoughts. So phone lines, if you are hoping to speak with the commission, it is 1-888-382-9556. One more time, that's 1-888-382-9556. While we check the phone lines, is there anybody present who would like to address the commission? See? Okay. Okay, we will leave that open to, if any comments come in while we're doing our commissioners' comments, we'll give them space if they come in. So let's start with final thoughts from commissioners. We'll start with Stephen.
Yeah, I just want to let the commission know, I've already let Justin know and David that I will no longer be a part of the ECC beginning in January. Most of you weren't, I think, here when I started, but I started 3 years ago, and as you know, part of what's set up for the ECC is you can go a max of 2 3-year terms. So I'm actually terming out of my first run at this. I may come back at some point, and that I will no longer be a part of the ECC beginning in January. Most of you weren't, I think, here when I started, but
Wow, that's crazy.
So do you have a doppelganger?
Yeah.
I feel like I just had a...
Hello. Hello. We have a caller. Hello.
Hello.
Go ahead.
Is it time to speak? I can't tell.
Yes, you have 3 minutes.
Thank you. It was hard, just there was a lot of commotion going on. Hi, everyone. Thank you for all your work, as always. This is Iris Potter, 1204 Manor Street. Thank you very much for making this recommendation to the City Commission. I'm not surprised. It's something that you should do, we all should do. As you know, there are 14,000 plus folks out here, and most people in Kalamazoo who do not want this rezoned. So thank you for doing that, and I'm hoping that holds some weight. You know, Asylum Lake Preserve is something that we all love, and it is a treasure. And I do believe that the city should buy it or hold on to it in one way or the other, declare eminent domain, however to do it, because that is the only way at this time. All the points that you made were excellent and exactly where many of us, ALPA, Oakland Windshield Neighborhood Association, and the community feel. The one thing I was wondering is, can we hear what the letter is that you're sending? That would be great. And if you could do that, that would be awesome. Again, thanks a lot, and we'll see you at the first reading, which is December 1st, when the developer will present. And then, so far anyway, December 15th is when the public hearing will be. Whether the City Commission will make a decision that night, it is hard to say, but we can anticipate that there will be lots of folks there. So again, if we could get that letter, that'd be great. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you, Iris. We will make it publicly available. I'm not sure exactly how we'll do that, but it will be publicly available.
Okay, that would be good to possibly, like, how would that be done? I mean, so that I would know.
I really can't tell you. We'll have to see. There will be some sort of an announcement, but yeah, we will make it publicly available, and we will do our best to make sure that everybody knows that it is.
If you
Okay, great. And also, I can just email you all at the environmental@kalamazooCity.org and ask for it or something like that too. So.
Yes.
Okay. Thanks a lot. Take care. Bye.
Do we have any others waiting there to interrupt Stephen? Sorry about that. No, sorry.
It's so funny.
Life happens.
I was like, oh my gosh. No, we do not.
Okay, Stephen, go ahead and finish.
So, yeah, I don't really have anything else other than, is that right, Doppel? I don't have anything else. Just thank you very much. This has been a wonderful opportunity, and I'm telling you, I strongly encourage other citizens in this city to get involved in this. So, thank you. That's all I had.
Thank you.
I don't have any other comments other than it's been great working with you, Stephen, and you will be missed.
Yes, the other thing, for my comments, I want to put out there for anybody who is taking time to listen to this, you can be here too. Especially, we have open seat right now, but after January, I think we will be around 4 open seats, which honestly, you'll be doing the commission a huge favor if you join us, because we're going to be perilously close to being able to make quorum if we don't get any new members. So anybody who's interested, or if you know somebody who's interested, the only requirements are that you live within the city boundary and that you have an interest in environmental issues in the city of Kalamazoo. So let us know. You can reach out through the city, through the website, or if you need detailed instructions, call 311 and they'll tell you how to do it.
Yeah, December is also going to be my official last month. I'm stepping down. Between just some very expansive job requirements and the baby, I just haven't had as much time as I wanted to. But I have also cherished being a part of this. I'm sure you'll see me again, just not in this capacity for a while. So thank you all. It's been wonderful. Yeah.
Thank you. I don't have anything to add right now.
Thomas?
2 comments. One, well, first I want to thank both of you for your service. You will be missed. I wanted to just make note that the city of Grand Haven passed a resolution to call 40% of the deer population. So they'll be going through with that. I don't know if it's this winter or this spring. So it's not unprecedented. It divided the community, but apparently and they recognize it's not a long-term solution, but they felt like they needed to do something. So I'm just putting that out there into the universe a little bit. And also, I see that we have Jean Tolando with us this evening, and I wondered if she had any comments for us from her point of view.
I'm from Public Services Department, Water Resources Division. I didn't know if I received an invitation by accident or not, so I thought I'd be here.
I invited a number of people, but I didn't realize until it was too late that I invited you, so I apologize.
Well,
I apologize for taking up your evening.
I appreciate that. If there's anything I can answer for you, we deal with environmental liability sites like the Superfund sites that you see, site plan review, the stormwater MS4 permitting, as well as the wellhead protection program, and a host of other things too. So I don't know if you have a minute. I have a couple of cool things, but some of what I do is outside of the city, just because the well fields that we have that are largest are outside of the city. Some of them are future well fields, and some are existing, like El Sabo. But we are developing in the last 2 years the concept of land management for these properties, especially our well fields, just because they need to be managed. You guys talked on invasive species, tree conditions, and so forth. So I'll just mention we are doing our second tree harvest on property out in Ross Township, a future well field. And we successfully did 60 acres last year, and we're doing almost 200 acres this year. We'll be pulling out 800 trees. Unfortunately, we had a pretty big windstorm, or some people call it a tornado. It took out 14 acres flat of trees. So it complicated things a little bit, but we're getting through it. We also started our first pilot deer hunt with bows at the 60 acres south on the Ross Township property, and it's going extremely well. We have select people from Ross Township, as well as one of the local police officers, a total of 5 that are all seasoned and selectively picked to do our first deer hunt. So it's going extremely well. Probably the most exciting thing we did this year, being a geologist, you might not think so. Most of it was done outside the city. Was we conducted an airborne electromagnetic study of our well fields. We covered about 1,600 acres of 3D high-resolution mapping of the subsurface over 1,600 acres. So in one day, it was pretty phenomenal, and we've seen a lot of the results. We're on the verge of getting the final report, and all of this it tells us a lot about the stratigraphy of the Earth. Some places we were able to get down 700, 800 feet with high resolution, and that helps us look for future well supplies, as well as to advance our existing well supplies and really hone in on one of those hot spots. It's probably the highest level of technology in terms of really finding the greatest parts of our aquifers. We have tons of aquifer. But if we really want to have the maximum capacity and the ability to supply the futures wells, as well as we have old wells that are aging out and finding better wells and putting in higher tech wells, this is the way to go about it. It's probably going to save us long-term millions and millions of dollars of drilling and take us decades ahead. One big leap will be there. I don't know if anyone else has done this in Michigan. I do know USGS does it, and we may consider a little bit more someday. So that's pretty exciting. I wish you could see it, because it was kind of a rush to be out there and watch this helicopter fly this generator with a big, huge six-sided, it's a receiver antenna, a loop, and drag it 100 feet over the tree lines and watch it go back and forth, and it was pretty amazing. We just resubmitted for our stormwater MS4 permit application after a notice of violation, things that the state of Michigan had wrote into our last permit, just wrote it in, things that we could not afford. And so we're working to find that funding to do that, and resubmitted that. We also had an audit at our Stockbridge facility, and it's been a lot of paperwork. So when you talk about, checking boxes and documenting, everything in my mind is like, oh, not another piece of form or paper to have to check off. We produced over 1,000 pages of data mining, standard procedures, manuals, and all kinds of ways that we have to meet all the requirements of just the stormwater permit. So it's an exhaustive amount of effort. You should read it. There's so much in it. It's fabulous. It covers a lot of the services that the city does, including recycling and everything you can imagine that public services does. It somehow ties into that. But I want to say one of our biggest achievements is in education outreach, and that's actually through our wellhead protection program. We receive the maximum amount every year from the wellhead grant through the state, and we have all kinds of educational outreach, which is just growing and growing, and we're getting tremendous metrics on it. It's purely educational, and many other topics covers wellhead as well as stormwater and other environmental issues as well. What else? We're on the verge of doing our first pilot Adopt a Drain program. The webpage is in creation at this time. We have everything ready to go online, mapping, signage, enrollment, reporting, and all that's ready to go. We just have to launch it. We're just at the very, very end of that. We hoped to have it out last month, but just with all the other things and getting the engineering and everything, we didn't quite make that deadline, but pretty soon it'll be rolled out. I think we're going to have a neighborhood meeting in the next month to start it out. Let's see. There's just so much, I'm sorry, but geez, we are on the verge of a PFAS page as well, information and so forth, working with MPART, that's the state's PFAS group that leads everything, and we're working in conjunction with them to do this webpage. We are working with the health department and a whole bunch of other communities to put this up so we can get some more information on local sites and things like that out there.
Do we have it in our meeting schedule that Gene comes and updates us every 6 months? It seems like we used to do that, but I don't know if that fell off, or do you remember, Gene?
2 or 3 times a year, especially if you guys had an update on something. So like I said, I wasn't quite sure if I was invited or not. I thought I'd show up and see what's going on.
Again, my apologies.
It's okay.
I thought I was just putting it on my calendar, but it went out to a number of people. I'll do better next time. I owe you lunch, and we'll sit and talk. But yeah, it would be nice to have you come back and, have a scheduled time so that we're not keeping everyone,
Yeah, I'm sorry.
Yeah, no, it's not your fault, it's my fault. But just to have you come back and give us a regular update, like, I don't know, what your thoughts are, David.
Yeah, I'll check with Justin and see if there's a reason why that doesn't seem to have continued and make sure that it gets back into a regular rotation.
Yeah, because this is all really interesting and good stuff. I want to adopt a drain, by the way.
Well, right now you have to live in the Oakwood neighborhood, so.
Oh, okay, I know.
All right, well,
Okay,
thank you.
Thank you.
Appreciate it.
David, last comments?
Nothing here, thanks.
All right.
Oh, no, I'm sorry. Thank you guys for your service. It's been nice. I've learned a lot. Thank you much.
Yeah, thank you.
Do we have a motion to adjourn?
I will make that motion.
Second?
I will second that motion.
All right, so we are adjourned. Thank you, folks.
Thank you.